guys, welcome back to Let's Code and sorry for the delay. And actually, today I have changed the plan a bit because I found that grid is a huge topic and Flexbox itself is a huge topic, and display property is somewhat related to the grid and the Flexbox. So in today we will see the display property, especially the block and inline, and then we will cover the grid in this video, and in next video we will proceed for the Flexbox. So for the grid, it is important to realize that what is grid, and grid is bit what complicated and confusing. So be there with me completely so you guys can understand grid properly. But let's start our coding with the display property. I'm going to create a file for the display inside the learning.css, and here I'm going to name it like display.html. And here I'm just going to close this find. I'm going to press this icon and then press enter to have this auto generated HTML, and I'm going to change the document with the display label. So now come here, not here, sorry, in the finder, and finder is actually file explorer in the Windows. Let's open the intro to the web development folder, and then inside it there is a learning CSS. I'm going to double click it to open it, and this is the file we are working on now, display.html. I'm going to double click it to open, and here is our file. As you can see it from the title, it's display. So now here I'm going to create one div as container. I have typed this text with a dot in start, and then I'm going to press enter. It auto generated a container for me, and I'm going to type the box, and I am going to multiply it by 9. So we are having 9 boxes or 9 divs. Nothing visible on our browser yet because we didn't assign any CSS property to it. Now I'm going to use internal CSS. I define the style tag just below the title, and here I'm going to call the box container first. These all box containers are called just by one, and here I'm going to assign it a background color of teal, padding of not auto, padding of a 30px and 40px. I'm going to put the numbers here. I will show you why I did that. 6, 7, 8 and 9, and the last thing remaining is border. Actually, yeah, border. It will be 3px solid. Come here, refresh, and we are having this huge. Why we are having that much width? Although we didn't assign, because of the default property we can handle this by width dot fit content. Come here, refresh it. Now everything is set, I hope so. And I'm going to make this color a bit lighter because our text is also dark. So now it's fine. What I will do now, I will actually call the container dot container, and here I'm going to define the display inline. Let's come here, refresh it. Nothing happens. Why? Because we need to define it as flex, inline flex or just flex, so it will change its position. As you can see, it's still there. And that's it for this lecture. If you want to change the direction, you can make it block. Like now I'm going to refresh it. It's this. Sorry, yeah, refresh. It's still in same direction, but if you define inline flex or flex, it will change the direction. Yeah, so now this display topic is ended, but we will proceed with the grid now. I'm going to create another file. I'm creating the separate files to keep the content aligned, and you guys can understand better in the separate files. So let's start with grid.html. Press enter. Default structure, here I'm going to rename it as grid. Let's come here, and not here, sorry, here. I'm going to open the grid file. This is the grid. Grid is bit confusing, I'm again saying it, so stay with me until we are done with the grid. Now I'm just going to copy it from the display because I don't want to write these numbers again and again. Therefore I'm copying this part and then come here, and I'm also copying this box part. If you want to write, you can write it for your practice, but I'm kind of go through these all, so therefore I'm not using my skills to write these all codes again. I hope this doesn't affect your side. If you want to write, you can write it. I'm just going to define the container, and this time display will be grid. Come here, refresh here, nothing happens. Why? Because nothing is defined in the grid. Here what can I do? I can go for the grid template columns, and I will define auto and auto to have 3 columns, and I hope this will work here. Yeah, we are having 3 columns. This is the first thing that worked. I can show you another thing, that is I'm going to define here the box 1, and here the box 2, and here also the box 3, and box 4, box 5. I will show you why I'm doing this, but I will definitely need this in advanced topic of the grid that I'm going to teach you now. 8 and 9. Yeah, so we are having different classes, and now what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to teach you how to assign. Actually one thing is missing from here. What I will do, I will just remove this padding thing from here, and I'm going to assign something especially here that would be like 300 pixels, 200 pixels, and 40 pixels, and 80 pixels. Let's come here, refresh it. So we are having small boxes. They're not taking this height, but it's still working like the 4 columns, and it is actually having the difference. I can show you how. Let's come here and remove this. This is just because of that, and now you can see it's absolutely fine. And same goes for the grid rows. Not like that. Grid template rows, and here I'm going to define the first row as 200 px, second row as 100 px, and third row as 300 px. Let's come here, refresh it, and you can see 200, 100, and 300. This is the advanced topic of the grid we are covering now. And then there is a special column thing that I can show you now. Now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to just keep them here. Yeah, even this one also. This doesn't bother me, but I would recommend to just comment this. Yeah, this one, and copy this, paste it here to change this to auto, so we don't face any problem while testing our other topics. Yeah, and come here, and this one. Yeah, now they are fine. And now what I'm going to do, I am actually going to remove this fit content especially. Refresh it. Now it's working fine. Now what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to choose the special item. The special item would be box 1 for me. Now I will define a grid area that would be something like my box, or the selected box you can call it. So it's my box, and then I'm going to define it grid, grid column start from 1 and grid, grid column ends on 3. Let's come here, refresh it, and you can see it increased the one because it's actually the column is starting from the 1 and ending at the 3, not covering the 3, and it also changed the position. Now what I will do, I will come here and I will write grid row starts from the 1. Let's, yeah, now it's on its position like 1 because I asked it. Grid row 1, it is assigning it as a 1, and even I can go for the start property. Let's see what happens. Refresh, it's on its position because I asked it. And what if I ask it for the grid, grid row ends at 4. Let's come here and refresh. So it is having 1, 2, and it is ending at 4, not covering the 4, ending before the 4. This is what you can do with the grid. Grid is confusing honestly, but grid is something that you can use without any problem. I hope so. And yeah, there is one other thing in the grid that is called, I'm going to comment this, that is called calling the things by name. I can show you how. Like here, I am going to assign box 2 as, I'm copying this, I'm pasting this, and I'm typing here 2. Now let's come here. What I'm going to do, I'm going to do my box, 1, and not my box, and my box 2. Let's come to our code, refresh it. You can see we are having 2 columns because I have only defined the first 2. And what if I go for the third one, like dot box 3, which is the class here we just defined. I'm going to close the terminal so you guys can have a view on this as well. So here I'm going to copy this, paste it, and make it 3. Now we will have 3 columns. Come here, refresh it. As you can see, now there are 3 columns hopefully, but there is something that is override, like our first 3 columns are gone, and so our first 3 columns are gone, and I'm going to remove this because this is making the trouble for us now, and I'm going to refresh it. I don't know what's the problem with this, but yeah, let's remove this as well. Come here, refresh it. Now we are having it fine. We just lost our first 2 columns, and that is because of this weird property of the grid, as we didn't define it for the every grid part. Like we only defined the first 2, and first 2 are gone from the template. You can remove as many as you want, but now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to remove this from here. I'm going to write the auto and auto to have 3 different columns. Come here and just comment these lines, command Z. I'm going to just comment these so we don't have any trouble. Something wrong with my keyboard, so sorry for that. So just comment this and comment this. Come here, refresh it. We are fine. As I have removed the grid box thing, it sometimes create problem. And now the next thing, that how you can spam, like you can merge this to this. I can show you with a very easiest method, that is called something called, that is actually something grid, yeah, grid rows 1 span 3. Let's come here, refresh it. So you can see it has taken the 3 rows, and same goes for the column. Let's try it. I'm going to pass it grid, not row, column this time. 3 by 9, not 9, span 1, starting from 1 and spanning it to 4. Let's come and refresh. So now it's taking the 4 columns, and yeah, and not taking the row, but we can make it to take that. Let's come here and refresh this. It's working fine now because there were not 4 columns. It is taking the 3 columns completely and then the 3 rows. It's something that you can do, and its shorthand method is something called the grid. Yeah, don't use it because we already use it. It's actually the shortest method for these things. And now come here, I will show you the last thing of this lecture is grid, not grid, sorry, gap. You can call it gap. Gap of 10 pf 20 ps. Refresh it. We are having the gap. And what happened if we go for the double gaps like this? This time it has taken the gap from these parts, like between the rows, sorry, not rows, between the columns. So that's how gaps work. This is the universal property. You can also go for the column gap or the row gap, it's up to you. So that's it for today's lecture. I will share the both code files in the description link for this video, and also you can find this course outline inside the code description, and we would also have something like complete code playlist inside this video description. So see the description for the details. And yeah, in the next lecture we will see the flexbox.